family outside an old building in the early 1950s. This is the Jamia Mosque at Nairobi, Kenya, and the Wade family are at the beginning of a visit to some friends or relatives. With their cine camera, they record what strikes them about the country in the last years of colonial rule. I think they've come over from Britain and want to record, in addition to their relatives, everything new and different. These may be amongst the first black people they've ever seen, and at first Wades keep their distance from them. They hire a car and driver for the trip. He's seen in his uniform at the left. And here is their first destination, seen in these misty panoramas of the Great Rift Valley. If you look carefully, you can see a silvery lake reflecting the hills behind it. The faded 60-year-old Kodachrome doesn't quite do the scene justice. These are probably the children of their friends or relatives, and it looks as if they live in this little settlement of bungalows, which would not look out of place in the British countryside. One day they stop at a roadside banana stall and examine the fruit. Farming here must be rather different from England. They arouse some curiosity from local children and respond by using their cine camera. This sign locates them clearly at Nakuru, Kenya's second city. They've come to a wedding. Everyone is dressed up to the nines. You can almost smell the mothballs. This is a fair attempt at recreating a country wedding back in Britain. The American cars are different, of course. Off the bride and groom go to get changed. And then, after the reception in the fading evening light, the bride and groom leave on their honeymoon in a car registered in Tanganyika. Everyone else hangs around, not wanting the day to be over. The Wades, friends or family, seem to have a farm, and father is given a little practice in ploughing. He's wearing his best cords and sports jacket. He doesn't seem to be a novice, however. Perhaps they're all from a farming family in Britain. And then the Wades are off touring again, heading into the hills. And soon we find them filming the panorama over the Rift Valley from a high viewpoint. Once again, the Kodachrome seems to be struggling with the misty light. On they drive, past more colonial settlements, until they come across a surprising sight. Not as surprising as it may seem, however, in reality, as this is good cattle-rearing country, as the Maasai well know. They've run out of colour film when they come to one of the valley's national parks, where they record the wildlife. And then they seem to be staying on the edge of a town. Where this is, I can't say. But soon they're driving through a very different settlement. What seems to be shanty-style ribbon development along the main road may not be elegant, but it is a fascinating sign of how many Kenyans live. The place is bustling with activity. Each shack, a shop, workshop, or even a hotel, and they're compelled to record it. It isn't like the hotel they stay in, however, where they meet more relatives. They all dress and look like middle-class English people of the period, out on a day at home in a warm summer. The nearby town has shops run by British families, the Seths and the Whiteaways. The majority population, however, do seem to be African. It's a busy, thriving town where some people, at least, are prosperous. Travelling once again, they stop to admire a bamboo grove. And then they press on, leaving the tarmac and heading back into the hills. They find more wildlife, presumably in another national park. They don't have zoom lenses in their 1950s cameras, and we have to strain to see the jackals. Before long, they're back at a hotel where they've filmed the staff in the yard, recording, whether they realise it or not, how race and class go together here. Here seems to be Nairobi, with bigger, more permanent buildings than we've seen in other streets. Again, you can see the race-class divide quite plainly in what they film. This is the post office, with signs directing you to the various rooms of private post boxes. The uniformed staff seem to deliver the mail on bicycles. It seems to be a teeming town, and I think the Wades are proud of it. They seem to spend, if not the last of their time, at least the last of their film, recording British colonial institutions, such as the Land Registry, key to the process of settling British people here, and the public clinic. As they run out of supplies, the film ends abruptly, leaving us to our thoughts. Perhaps they've shown us more about colonial Kenya than they realised.